Welcome to the Catholic Grief Coach podcast. In this episode, I'm going to talk about how this shouldn't be happening. So, welcome, dear friends. And if you are new here, welcome. Please like, subscribe. If you are a longtime follower, listener, I know that I have changed the name of this podcast a couple times throughout the years. So, I wanted to be more cohesive across the board. So, this podcast was the Grieving Nurse Coach. I'm switching everything now to the Catholic Grief Coach because that is my brand, that is me. And so that's what I'm switching to. So if you're confused, you're in the right place. But today I want to talk about just the recent events that have been happening across our nation. If you do not live in the US, my apologies, maybe you don't know what's been happening, but there's just been a lot of very sad, very devastating happenings. And so, a couple weeks ago, there was a shooting at a Catholic school around Minneapolis, Minnesota. Then earlier, about, I don't know, a few days ago, there was a woman named Iryna Zarutska who was brutally murdered on a train coming home from work. A young woman. And now, yesterday, as I record this podcast, yesterday, Charlie Kirk was assassinated for being very vocal about his faith, for speaking the truth. And today, also, I know this podcast will be released tomorrow or the next day, but today is also September 11th, which for the United States, that is also a very heavy day. A lot of memories. There's a lot of I don't know, like a lot of posts that I see, like remembering 9/11, right? Remembering the victims. But that can also, it just feels so heavy right now. When I went to bed last night, I told my husband, I'm like, gosh, today just felt so heavy. It felt so heavy. It almost felt hopeless. Like, what is happening in our world? And so that is what I want to talk about today. And so, first and foremost, I know that a lot of people talk about mental health, right? And that is a true and real thing. People also, as I'm sure we will see the next weeks, months, want to say the left or, it's us versus them. In this podcast, I really just want to put all that aside. And I want to look at just as humans who are lonely, who are hurting, who have our certain beliefs or our certain things that we are important to us. We don't have enough Jesus. So that is what I want to talk about today. It's just I've seen so many people say over the last few days, like something has to change, like something has to change. And I want to challenge you guys to say someone has to change. And it starts with me. It starts with ourselves. It starts with instead of talking about division and conservative versus leftists, right? And Democrats versus Republicans or blacks versus whites, like what can I do? And I know in my humanness, in my weakness, I can't do anything. I really truly can't. If I see injustice, I can speak out. If I see truths happening, I can speak the truth. But for a small town girl who lives in very rural North Dakota, in the majority of my world, there aren't really things that it's like, I need to go protest in the streets and I need to the one thing that I consistently come back to is that I need to pray more. I need to fast and I need to pray. And fasting in the way of doing it for the sake of others, right? And there have been so many saints who quietly did this and changed our world. And so we just had again, I have hope because I know we had Saint Carlo Acutis became a saint. He was canonized this past Sunday. Same with Saint Pierre. I can't remember his last name, but Saint Pierre now became a saint. So I do see good in this world. I do see the hope. I do see that we have had a lot more saints and like on the road to becoming saints, like young people, because they knew that it started with them. It started with their relationship with Jesus. And so that is what I want to talk about today. I want to just again bring it back to Jesus because we can do nothing without him. We can't get to heaven without him. And Charlie Kirk like was a very courageous man. He knew that. Was why he could do that work day in and day out, knowing that this may happen, that this is potentially a reality that could be. So I want to talk, kind of bring it back, right? And look at, okay, a lot of thoughts. So I know my husband yesterday, like he was angry. He was just like, I'm so angry that this is happening. Like it's just senseless, right? Like he wasn't a politician. He's not making laws. He's not changing anything. He just was going out and having discussions with people and trying to be just a voice of reason or being truth, being light in the darkness. And they got rid of him. And so I know for him, he was very, very angry. For me, I was more sad. I was more sad thinking about his wife, his kids. I know my mom died, like just in our little area, it felt very, very public. It was in the news, people were talking about it, it was on Facebook, it felt very, very public, and it kind of put, I don't know, just a spin on it that I never thought I would have had to deal with when my parents passed away. And so for me, I was thinking about his wife and like this is so public. This is like splashed on everything. Like she can't even like check out for a minute and scroll on Facebook because she'll be bombarded with things. And so that's where I went. I went sad. My husband was angry, right? You might be on one of those things or somewhere in between. But for me, I was sad because I was thinking like, oh my gosh, like what his wife now has to deal with. Even like I know those first few days, weeks, how much of a blur it is, how you appreciate people's outpouring, but then it goes silent. So that's what my thoughts were going to that. My husband, right, in his anger, he just kept thinking like it's senseless. This is so senseless. There's no point to this. And with both of our feelings, right? But I want to talk specifically about my husband's because I do think a lot of people are very outraged and upset, like because my husband just kept saying like this is just senseless. There's no point to it. And I want to say like again, maybe it's too fresh for people, but we know as Catholics, as Christians, we know that even if we can't make sense of it, if we don't see a point to it, that God does. And He has a plan for this. Whether that plan be like we keep going on this projection of putting ourselves deeper and deeper into a hole, right? To have the end times, and so He can save us all at the end. Or to put us on a projection of like, okay, more people are going to start praying. There will be change. We're going to start with ourselves. We're going to love people more. We're going to reach out to people. We're going to offer our sufferings for those of others. Right? Like I don't know. I don't know if there's so many variations in between those two that my very, very limited human brain can only think of. Because right, we jump immediately to like, well, this is the end times. I think we're running ourselves, we're just destroying ourselves. Two, okay, like God's gonna change, right? Like this is our turning point, right? Which is kind of ironic because Charlie Kirk's um, founding thing was Turning Point USA, right? Like this is our turning point. And I don't know. I don't know the future, neither do you. But I do know that what I need to do is I need to pray more, pray without ceasing, right? Like pray so consistently in my day that my whole day is just a constant prayer. And I know I'm very, very lacking in this. I know that I pray a few times a day. I know that when things get hard, I tend to not even want to do those things. So that is what I want to say. Like the thought that this is senseless, that it's the left, that they're out to get us, right? Like that doesn't serve me. That doesn't serve you. We can have those thoughts, right? But like those can be our first thoughts that are kind of unintentional that just happen. That's fine. But I really want to challenge you guys to look at, okay, but what thought do I want to really have? What thought do I want to live out? And I do think like Charlie Kirk was a great man. I don't know him. I only know him from watching some videos of him speaking at colleges and some videos recently of now him with his wife and his two children. But I do know that his faith was so important to him and that if we go in with the thought, this shouldn't be happening, this is senseless, it's the left, they're after us, they're attacking us. That is not what he wanted, right? Because he was trying to live out the mission and be the voice of and hands and feet of Christ on this earth. And Christ does not want us to think those things. The devil wants us to think those things. The devil wants us to be more divided now than ever. So again, I I may not see the sense in this. You may not see the sense in this. We may not know even why this happened, but sometimes I draw comfort in knowing that I don't have to know, that God has it all. He sees every single thing. He sees all of our hearts. He sees what good will come of this when we invite him in and we allow it. So, what little thing, which I want to say is a big thing, can you do today to draw closer to Jesus? Maybe it's just good saying, hey, like, I don't know really how to pray on the top of my head, but I know the Our Father. I know that I can just say, Jesus, I trust in you. I know that I can set an alarm on my phone, and throughout the day, I can have 3 times a day that I check it and I just say, Jesus, I trust in you. Take all my prayers, works, joys, and sufferings of this day. Okay, so doing that. And I also want to say, like, if as this is happening, because I felt yesterday too, like, I did feel kind of, I don't want to say triggered, because I feel like triggered is a very strong word or like more intense word, but it did bring up memories for me of my mom dying, just how public it was. It brought up memories of that, like those few days, like how tragic and sudden it was. Like, and I just think like we're all mourning this. So talk to people about it, reach out to people, um, again, in very a loving way, not to condemn, not to anger. Um, and if you see somebody who is saying things that are not right, like either one, speak up and say, hey, he was a person, or I do think there is power in also like praying for that person. Like I'm gonna pray for them because they are so hurting and they do not know Jesus. So I'm gonna pray for them. I'm gonna offer all my sufferings today for that person, for their redemption. Okay. So, and again, if you are triggered, I invite you, you can always email me at catholicgriefcoach@outlook.com. And just say, hey, like, I'm really upset by this. I just want to put this here, right? Like, you can always do that or post it on my Facebook page, Catholic Grief Coach. And so that's what I want to talk about today because I feel like the world feels very heavy right now. And it can feel like, gosh, like, I just don't see how this is going to get better. But we know that it will get better because in the end, Jesus wins, right? Jesus wins. And I do take comfort in that. Not in a way to like push my feelings and thoughts and emotions away, but I do truly, truly, truly take comfort in that because I truly believe it. And if you don't believe it, that's okay. Don't condemn yourself. Don't shame yourself. Just be like, hey, Lord, Please help me to believe that more. Please help me to believe that you win, that you're using everything for your good, because I have a hard time seeing it right now. So that's what I had for you guys today. Please visit CatholicGriefCoach.com and see ways that you can sign up to get coached through your grief with me. All right, you guys, have a blessed day.